Fun fact, folks, we have merch now. Party it up here, and it's for you guys to show off your amazing neurodiversity and be proud about it. Have a sticker, a mug, a face mask, whatever it is. It's available to you. The link is down below. I appreciate you supporting me, and let's go ahead, let's get into this. Hi, hello, how are you all this fine day? I hope that if you're here, you subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and you check out everything that's down below. Description box, like button, subscribe button, comment section, which feel free to use, as always, because we're talking about something pretty heated. And if you're American, then you probably know, or, I mean, basically, the entire world knows of January 6th, the insurrection on our Capitol building in Washington, D.C., which was really driven by a topic that YouTube is pretty iffy on, for good reason, and that's QAnon. And I'm not going to talk about that particularly, but there is a recent news of particularly one lawyer who has a lot of defendants that were involved in this violence, this hate crime, basically. And it mainly focuses on Jacob Chansley, who basically describes himself as the QAnon shaman. If you see a picture of him, you probably recognize him from all of the hubbub. And his lawyer, Albert Watkins, is defending Jacob Chansley because he is allegedly on the autism spectrum. And his autism, again, I don't know him, we're just going to say it as if he is autistic, but Albert Watkins is using autism as the whole reason for the defense, saying that because this particular person and a lot of the people who were involved in the insurrection, direct quote for that context there, but a lot of these defendants, and I'm going to use the colloquial term, perhaps disrespectfully, but they're all effing short bus people. These people are brain damaged, they are effing retarded, they're on the goddamn spectrum. So, thoughts on that? If you've been here, you know that I am a huge advocate, mainly because I am myself autistic and ADHD, disabled person, neurodiverse. I use all of those terms for myself. And I speak as myself. I don't claim to speak for the entire autistic community, but I think it's safe to say that being autistic and, you know, whatever sort of neurodiversity or disability you have, that does not give you an excuse to be a bad person. It's not unheard of for autism and disabilities of any kind to essentially be scapegoats for, you know, any sort of violence, crime. Associating disability and autism as something bad based off of a list of examples where autism may or may not be involved, but just because someone is autistic, disabled, neurodiverse, that's not the reason why they act in hateful ways. And it's a huge problem for those of us who are in the autistic community, who are working so hard to speak up for ourselves, to bring more representation and just generally more awareness to the greater population of autism just being a different way of being. And to insinuate that being autistic drives people to devastating, hateful events is disgusting. I'll use the example of my recent video about Elon Musk coming out as autistic. And I made that video because it's relevant, one, but also because I want to really emphasize the point that just because someone is autistic does not mean that their behaviors and their morality is founded upon their disability. They're different things. So to somehow associate one with the other is so detrimental to the work that we're trying to do here, to kind of throw around the term of autism as an umbrella term for, you know, people involved in the insurrection, involved in shootings. It completely undermines what autism actually is and how autistic people really are who they are in the majority of cases, which disabled people and autistic people are more likely to be the victims of crime than the perpetrators. I hate that a lawyer, but really to be able to do that in the first place and to be taken seriously, of blaming autism for harmful actions of otherwise, you know, very privileged people who are often cases white men who are to some degree entitled. You know, this isn't something that's new, and it perpetuates our stigma. It continues to feed into our fear of the unknown. And because we don't know enough about autism, and because we don't have enough representation, there are far fewer instances where this is questioned and this is, you know, debunked. Because it's not true. It's just not true. I think my main hope for sharing this and talking about this in general is that having lawyers and having, you know, otherwise neurotypical people who use the case of neurodiversity as almost as a plea for insanity in a way, only further imprisons other autistic people. Autistic people who do not have those privileges, who are not white privileged men. I encourage you to just really just question what kind of messages we're receiving about who autistic people are. And you're likely to see that most autistic voices or most mentions of autism are hateful, are used as excuses for being immoral and hateful to others, and further add to the conversation that autism is something that is bad and needs to be cured. Because look at all these examples. That's not true. That is as far from the truth as you can. So for something so offensive, so hateful to be in our rhetoric is the true crime. So feel free to use the comments below to share your thoughts, and I hope that by having such negative news and I guess negative publicity, that it just encourages us further to speak up, to advocate, and to fight for what is rightfully ours. And that is true representation, that's true respect, and that's true acceptance. So thank you so much for being here. Subscribe and like if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time.